Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Today I bring you the best dual blade styles meta builds for Feral Demon Mode and Spiral Slash, as we explore the best builds for the new dual blade style customizations. Now there is a variety of builds that work for both styles, and I'll be going over the top dual blade monster types as of Season 7. The rest aren't worth going after. All it takes is literally one of a newer Ripboard monster to release. Here's an example. If Rathalos releases, Anjanath dual blades just automatically hit the sink, and it's not worth building. They're just too low to begin with. Don't worry about it. Don't build those. Just focus on the ones I'm going to put here on this video. They're available and they're out anyways, so you might as well go after them. And these builds will still work for a very long time, unless there's an enormous meta shift or something like that, which isn't happening anytime soon. First off, we're going to start off with the raw dual blade style data comparison, as this data is for the raw/Magna Malo dual blades. As we see here, the top build for Spiral Slash is Burst 5 and Skyward Striker 4, while the top builds for Feral Demon Mode are Burst Pursuit 5 and Advanced Attack Boost at max at 2. Now here's the thing, you can use the Feral Demon Mode builds for Spiral Slash, however the Skyward Striker build carries a lot of useful skills and has a small, lesser damage difference versus the top, which is about 7%. You will hardly, well, it's still noticeable, it's a noticeable difference, like, 7%, but you're going to hardly notice it in hunts. Probably a second or two shaved off, it doesn't really matter, just because these, literally, the percentages are just so close. Not mega close, but again, it's close. Alright, first we're going to start off with the raw dual blade styles budget builds. For both styles, you'll go Burst 5 for budget. For Spiral Slash, you can actually use Skyward Striker 5 as a budget, as Skyward Striker is only less than 3% damage overall. But it can carry Evade Extender as well if you use the Barrier Helmet, which is huge for Styles movement. So it's definitely really good. With, again, Evade Extender +1 is extremely underrated, and with Skyward Striker, it's perfect because you need to be able to go up into the air and do the aerial Demon Flurry before you hit the Spiral Slash anyways. And you have a lot of options for both if you want to get them to max level. Like for Skyward Striker and for Burst 5, as you see, you have a lot of options here. So it's really up to you. Use whatever combination you need to get the Skyward Striker to 5, or any combination you need to get to Burst 5. Anyone works here. You'll see a noticeable damage difference versus the best, but you know what? If this is all you can go for, then that's all you need. At least so far. First off, we're going to start off with the raw dual blade style best build number 1, as this build maxes out Pursuit 5 and Burst 5. This is the build that has the highest theoretical damage, and it also has Part Breaker 2, allowing you to consistently break the part you need before getting a Pursuit boost. In order for you to get said boost for Pursuit, you need to be able to break parts. Part Breaker 2 is the minimum to do that fast enough to where this result actually stands. But again, like I mentioned before, this build is only 7% higher versus the top ones. So it's totally fine if you want to use any of the raw style builds. Again, you want to use Skyward Striker. Again, as long as it's for Spiral Slash, that's perfectly fine. And for this build, you need the Magna Malo dual blades at grade 10 or any of the raw dual blades that are eligible for style customization. Zinogre helmet at grade 6, the Espinas mail at grade 8, Rothian Van Braces at grade 6, Espinas coil at grade 8, as well as the Glavenus Greaves at grade 8. Moving on, at build number 2, we have a build that maxed out Burst 5 and has Skyward Striker 4. This can only be used with the Spiral Slash style because it's the only one that can actually go into the air. And the thing is, this build also has a lot of extra skills that work particularly well for the Magna Malo dual blades. You have Teostra Blast Power here, and again, Evade Extender is goated. It is an amazing extra skill that helps you cover ground and get in normal mode / aerial Demon Flurry range. In order for you to hit said monster with the maximum effectiveness, you need to be able to hit all your combos in range, and this allows you to do that. But of course, yeah, Skyward Striker 4 is, at least for the raw ones, the standard. For this build, you need the Magna Malo dual blades or any raw dual blades at grade 10 or higher that can be style customized. For Spiral Slash, again, this can only be used with Spiral Slash. You have the Barrier Helmet at grade 6, Somnicanth Mail at grade 6, the Rothian Van Braces at grade 6, the Teostra Coil at grade 8, and the Glavenus Greaves at grade 8. Moving on, at number 3, we have the raw dual blade styles best build, where it has Advanced Attack Boost at level 2, which is maxed out, and this can be used with both styles. It is about 1% stronger than the Skyward Striker build for Spiral Slash, and only about 7% less than the top overall build, so it's still very strong. Again, it's still very close, so unless you are just really want to itch and use Attack Boost, you might as well go for the other styles. I mean, not the other styles, the other best builds for raw. But if you really want to use this one, because you have advanced attack boost built already, you need Magnum All Dual Blades or any Raw Dual Blades eligible for style customization. The Rathalos Helmet at grade 6, the Brute Tigrex Mail at grade 8, Rothian Van Braces at grade 6, the Brute Tigrex Coil at grade 8, and the Glavenus Greaves at grade 8. But wait, there's more. We actually have a Raw Dual Blade Styles best build number 4, where it maxed out Teostra Blast Powder 3, as well as Burst 5. Here's a big note though, this can only be used with the Magnum Hollow Dual Blades. And it can actually be used for both styles. This will give up raw damage for blast procs, as well as the Teostra armor giving you a bunch of extra damage skills. In addition, Power Prolonger at level 1 is okay. But, again, factually, if you want to blast your way to victory, so when you start blasting, and then when you do so, that you start doing those damages to those part breaks, just because blast does add to your part break damage, and you're going to be able to stack up some extra damage on top of your raw. For this build, you need the Magnum All Dual Blades at grade 8 or grade 10 or as high as you can get it, the Teostra Helmet at grade 8, the Teostra Mail at grade 8, Rothian Van Braces at grade 6, the Teostra Coil at grade 8, and the Glavenus Greaves at grade 8. Now that we went over Raw, we go over to Ice, as we have Ice Dual Blade style data comparison, as we have 2 of them actually. The data for Ice Dual Blades, which is Legiana and Barrieth as of right now. And as we see, the top build for Spiral Slash would be either Elemental Attack 4 or 5 and Skyward Striker 4 or 5. It's seriously like this a little bit of a big headache. Depending on which one you use, one's actually very slightly better than the other. And the top build for Feral Demon Mode would be Elemental Attack 5 and Vital Ice 2, as you see right here. And for consistency's sake, just to make it not confusing when I came to that, Elemental Attack 4-5 or Skyward Striker 4-5, just go for Elemental Attack 5 for Skyward Striker. Since Skyward Striker only accounts for your aerial attacks, Elemental Attack 5 will account for everything as long as it's elemental weak to it. So just keep that in mind. It's much better to just go EA 5 and just be consistent with it. And speaking of Elemental Attack 5, if you're going to go for an Ice Dual Blade budget build, you're going to go for Ice Attack 5 for budget. Generally, you'll do this for both styles because Ice Attack 5 would be your pathway for budget anyways. If you're starting off and you're going to earlier mid-game, etc., you want any respective element, preferably all of them. You have a pathway to get all of them to their respective elemental attacks at level 5. The good thing about Ice in comparison to the old days, thank you so much. You see, we're not like in Sword Art Online. The beginning, okay, here's the thing. The first half was great. Second half, the elf arc was terrible. Yeah, that was bad. GGO is pretty decent and whatnot, but you know what? That's still not done. And thankfully, we're still not done yet because there's a lot of options for Ice Attack now. You see, you got a lot over here. Generally, you would want Legiana Helmet grade 6, Barrieth Fan Braces at grade 8. I mean, grade 6, you don't need an 8. 8 unlocks the Jurismal slot. And the Legiana Coil at grade 6. Like, those are just, you don't have to have those 3 pieces. That's just, again, just an easy pathway to go about it. So, again, just get these combinations, mix and match, and just make sure you have an option for Ice Attack 5. But if you want the cream of the crop, the best of the best, you have the Ice Dual Blade Styles best build number 1. This build maxes out Ice Attack and has Skyward Striker 4. So you're going to have Ice Attack 5, and this can only be used with Spiral Slash style. It is the Skyward Striker, as this build has the highest theoretical damage / consistency. Honestly, it's pretty weird. Depending on which one you're using, whether it be Barrieth or Legiat, it's like a 1 to 3% difference. So again, it's really weird. But this has great defensive and movement skills like Evade Extender and Divine Blessing, as much as I personally dislike it. And like Curlin getting nuked by Cybermen, I will not coin flip my way to Divine Blessing defense to save my life. No. But if you want to use this build, you need your Legion Dual Blades at grade 8 or grade 10 as high as you can get it. The Barrieth Helmet at grade 6. The Solemn Cat Mail at grade 6. Barrieth Fan Braces at grade 6. The Legion Coil at grade 6. And the Lagambi Greaves at grade 6. Again, keep in mind, you can only use this for the Spiral Slash style. But we don't just have one, we have another! For Ice Dual Blade Styles best build number 2, where it maxes out Ice Attack and has Vital Ice at level 2. And this can be used for both styles. However, I recommend the other one if you're going Spiral Slash. While this is only 1 to 3% behind the highest theoretical damage build, depending on if you're using Barrieth or Legiana, it is so small it doesn't really matter. But here you go. It has Vital Ice. So the problem with this is this consistency depends on if your HP is full or close to it. So if your HP took a hit and you are struggling at like 50% HP, your results will vary. It's like, one of those commercials when you see online and like when you watch TV and there's like 1,000 different side effects. Well, Vital Ice does have a side effect to it. But it's still really dang good, and if you want to use this build, you need the Legion Dual Blades at grade 8 or grade 10 or as high as you can get it. Your styles can be both. You have the Legion Helmet at grade 6, the Lunagary Mail at grade 6, Rothian Van Braces at grade 6, Legion Coil at grade 6, and the Lagambi Greaves at grade 6. And last but not least, we go over the Deviljho Dual Blade style data comparison, as is data for Deviljho Dual Blades. As we see, the top build for both styles will be Critical Ferocity 5 and the Raw Power 4 Classic build. I have promoted this on literally almost everyone that would be consistent for it, literally in a lot of videos. And the thing is, the damage difference is pretty high versus the rest. You can use Skyward Striker for Deviljho, but again, a 9% damage difference is noticeable. And you can do some big numbers with that Critical Ferocity build. That was, as soon as it came out, I already put the data out there for that, but still really dang good for Deviljho, and it's going to be for a while. So again, just, I really recommend you do go after, again, Critical Ferocity 5 and Raw Power 4. But before we go over the classic Critical Ferocity build, we have the Dragon Dual Blade Styles budget build. For both styles, you'll go Burst 5 for budget. The problem is Dragon Attack is just way too dang expensive, and it's not worth going for as a budget option. Meanwhile, if you look at here, you got a lot of options for Burst. It's like when you go to the cereal aisle, you got plenty of cereal for this. And Burst is already built into the Deviljho Dual Blade, so you have a lot more flexible budget options here if you decide to use them. Burst 2 built into the weapon is absolutely insane. So because Deviljho Dual Blades do have that, you have a lot of options to spring together 2 or 3 pieces for Burst 5, and then after that you can slime the rest with anything else you want to use. But if you want to go after the best of the best, we have the Deviljho Dual Blade Styles best build number 1, as we max out Critical Ferocity 5 and it has Raw Power 4, where this can be used for both styles. This build has the highest theoretical damage / consistency, and the damage again is noticeable in comparison to the rest of the builds, so I recommend you use this build over the Skyward Striker build. Damage, big damage, spiral power, go bing, and go boom. But you can also use this for Feral Demon mode, so it's worth it if you want to flex between both builds, and this build actually is used for a lot of negative crit builds, so definitely recommend you go after this one if you don't have it already. Fun fact, it's actually the recommended build for the event tab on Monster Hunter now, the official one. Like, if you look up on the events tab, it's like, this is the one on it. And I'm like, you know, I've been promoting this one a lot, so since Niantic does watch my content, you know, it would have been nice that... I'm just kidding. It's literally it's very good. I'm glad they're putting some, like, good meta ones out there that are factually amazing for all pieces, and not just, like, some random one they put in here. But for this build, you need the Deviljho Dual Blades at grade 8 or grade 10 or as high as you can get it. You need the Glavenus Helmet at grade 8, the Glavenus Mail at grade 8, the Basiljuice Fan Braces at grade 6, the Tigrex Coil at grade 6, and you also need the Arzuros Greaves at grade 6. However, if you do want to use Skyward Striker 5, it's totally doable if you're willing to give up that damage. Here's the Deviljho Dual Blade Styles best build number 2 as we max out Burst 5 and Skyward Striker 5. However, this can only be used for Spiral Slash, and again, that 9% lower damage than the Critical Ferocity build. It's noticeable, but this build does have more support skills. But if you want to use this build, you need the Deviljho Dual Blades at grade 8 or grade 10 or as high as you can get it, the Barrier Helmet at grade 6, the Somnicant Mail at grade 6, Rothian Van Braces at grade 6, the Teostra Coil at grade 8, and the Kushala Daora Greaves at grade 8. Again, don't recommend you use this one. Build the Critical Ferocity one, it's totally much more worth it. Again, you can use it for both styles, and this will be used for a lot of negative crit builds now and in the future. Hopefully this video helps you decide which build to use for the dual blade styles. Now here's the thing, I see some people saying, put Power Prolonger and Focus. I put a lot of hours into this. And after like literally just at first glance, I could already tell, per testing, honestly, it's better to stack damage versus Power Prolonger. I've tested this. I will put that video out there. You will see the difference, but it makes total sense. Power Prolonger does... While Power Prolonger does increase your time in Demon mode, for Spiral Slash especially, you want to get... Spiral Power increases your damage, right? Well, the more damage you have, the more damage it should theoretically stack. In addition to that, for Feral Demon mode, yes, it goes less. However, again, the more damage you can do in your mode in general, you want to go ahead and do as much damage as you can in one sitting, and then just recharge, and then just keep rinsing and repeating. That's what you want to do. That's why big damage does beat, and Power prolonger, unless it's built into it, like with the Teostra coil, isn't really worth it as a primary skill. With that being said, please do me a favor, like, subscribe, and comment for the YouTube algorithm. These build videos take yeah, they take a long time because I have to manually input everything. I have to look at my notes, etc., and I have to pop everything together. It's a giant pain, but as the best in the game and the best in the top English YouTubers, I definitely put a lot of work into here. As you see, as I actually go after these builds and full drift smell builds, as well as maxing out these weapons and insta-maxing them. Good luck on your grinds, and I will see y'all on the next video.